Ois Talad. Ulavayir Hatam. So before we explained the difference between mitzvah saseh and mitzvah saseh, the diknei law, the diknei of zoh, arechampin, the various different details. The Rebbe is going to, Alter Rebbe is going to explain now the root of this and going to explain what the mitzvah saseh, mitzvah saseh, by first explaining the idea of toyu and tikkun. Ulavayir hatam, to explain the reason for the difference between mitzvah saseh and mitzvah saseh. The mitzvah saseh is mamshich, and mamshich can come down now, as opposed to the loisaseh. That's only be the gilui la'osid in the future. To understand the reason, tzorich lahagdim inyan toyu v'tikun, we need to introduce first the idea of toyu and tikkun, the two worlds of toyu and tikkun. The hine, the hold, shviras hakelim the toyu hoyo machmas shehoyo ha'oir rav v'akelim ktanim mahochim. The reason why the vessels broke in toyu was because there was a lot of light. The oil was a lot, but the vessels, the kelim, were too small to be able to contain this big light. The lo yochlo akeli lahagbil asoir, and the keli was not able to limit the light. And lochein nishbra kelim v'naflu lemata. So that's why these kelim that could not contain the light broke, and they fell down below. And the lights, they ended up leaving, and they went up to the atzmus, to the essence of the maitzil. So the oires left the kelim, and the kelim broke and fell down below. And then later on, these kelim, they were sorted out and they were fixed. What does it mean the kelim were sorted out? How were they fixed? The correction means that instead of being a keli in a way of a nekuda, of a point only, they became in a level of a partsufim, of a face. Partsufim means it became a sphira which is included from all the other spheres. A level of partsufim, and v'lihiyois kol midah klula me'eser, and so that each one of the midas, that's the kelim, should be included of 10. Now that the kelim became many, they're now a level of partsuf. Each one is included of 10. So su the ribu hakelim is niskenu ha'oiras. The oiras were fixed because now the oiras have where to come down. As Rabbi Chaim Wolosow explains the Idra Zutra, is soid hatikun hu hamotas ha'oir. The secret of the correction is to diminish the light, to give less light. That allows for the tikkun. V'adrab, on the contrary, that's not only a reason why they don't break, because there is less light, is a reason. That's the reason why the vessels that are nizbarer are able to receive it, is because of the diminishing of the light. Now, how did the process work? The First, from the kelim of toyu that was nisbarer was that which was included in the world of Atzilus in the kelim of the Esses Firis the Tikkun. Esses Firis the Tikkun, that's the Esses Firis the Atzilus. The kelim of toyu that were broken first became fixed and sorted out in the world of Atzilus, in the Esses Firis the Tikkun. And that which was not able, those kelim, the breakage that was not able to be included in Atzilus, Yorad Lebiyah v'nivra Rishon, that descended into Bri Yitzira Asira, and they were sorted out there. Because over there, Shenizkalu Neshomes Malachim. Over there, in the word of Yah, it came into revelation the souls and the Malachim. And there, it's being nisbarer. It was nisbarer over there. The levels that were not able to be nisbarer in Atzilus. So it means, basically, that in the Shamas and the Malachim, there is the power to be mevarer and nisbarer the kelim of the kelim of toyu. So it means that there is a tremendous power by the malachim. V'lochein yesh koyach b'hamalachim liyos. That's why the malachim have the power. The pasuk says v'chayis noisos es hakisei. The chayis, that is the malachim that are called v'chayis v'fanei hakodesh. The chayis, they carry the kisei. And who is on the kisei? V'ala kisei ki mare odom. And on the kisei is mare odom. That is, the kisei is the spheres of Atzilus. The mare odom, that's the oiris. That's b'chinas oiris v'kelim da Atzilus. So they raise both the kelim, the oiris, and kelim of Atzilus because they have that power from Olam HaToyu, from the that came down into Biyah. B'zeu lefi sheshorsha me'olam HaToyu, because their root from the Malachim is from the world of Olam HaToyu. V'oires de Toyu gvoyim yoiser v'oires de Tikkun, and the lights of Toyu are greater than the lights of Tikkun. Because Sharei HaTikkun hu ha'ma'otas ha'oir derech kovim v'tzinoires v'sairis. The Tikkun, the light that comes down into Atzilus, in oires the Tikkun, over there, it's a diminishing light. The light comes through holes, through pipes, through hairs, a very minute. But the light of Tohu is much greater. But the problem was that but because of the Shviras HaKelim, so the light left and they went up to the Matzilom, into their Maitzil, and the Kelim came down below into Biyah. Okay, but after the kelim have been sorted out and they have been elevated from their fall, then it comes back to reveal inside of these kelim. Those are kelim of toyu that were nisbared, so they go get back shorsha. They get back their root, which is oiros the toyu, the lights of toyu, shu b'chinas lifnei malach melech libnei Yisrael, which is before there was a king for the Bnei Yisrael, higher than the level of Tikkun, higher than the level of Atzilus, in the level of toyu. And therefore, because of that oir that they get, they have the power to raise the kisei. together with the Oiros and Kelim Datzilus, because their Oir is from the Oir Ha Toihu that came back to them once the Kelim of Toihu were Nisbarer in Biyah, and the Malachim therefore get the power now from the Oiros of Toihu. So shall yidei habitl shebechayis hamerkovo, through this subjugation of the chayis, those are the animals, those are the malachim. In the merkovo, we have the various different the Navi, the Cheskel, the different animals of the merkovo, as the nusach in the davening is Zois Mechel Kisei. They are sweating from the army of the throne, one that raised, which is the level of bittul. They're sweating, meaning that they're bottled. That is the sorting out and the correction. That which is in the Mishviras HaKelim, what they have from the Shviras HaKelim, it has been sorted and corrected. That until it's sorted out to the extent that it is included now in a way of subjugation. So them is revealed in the chayis. The chayis and merkava is revealed to them a ha'oreh from those lights of toyu that have departed to atzvus ha'maitzel. And through that revelation that they get from the oiris the toyu, noisos es hakisei v'odom shel al hakisei, they carry the kisei and the odom shel al hakisei. Those are the oiris and the kelim of atzilus lebchinas atzmius ein so baruch hu, to the level of the lessons of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, which is called the level Bechinas Tiloi Odom Hu. He is not an Odom. In the level of Atzilus, that's called Odom. The Odom that Yoshev Al Hakisei. But they carry the Chayis. From the Merkava, they carry the Odom to the level which is Ki Lo Yodom Hu. The pasuk is Lo Odom Hu B'Yisnachem, the level of Lo Yodom. Hinei HaMalochim Hei Shekvar Nivra. When we have Malachim, Malachim have already been sorted out. They are sorted out. In Bria, Tzirena. They've been sorted out. Zahu, and this is what we say, V'asher Mishorsov Kulam Oimdim. His servants, they all stand. What does it mean they stand? Sha'oimdim b'bchinas bittel. They stand in a level of subjugation. V'cheina neshamas. The neshama is also, the soul has been already sorted out. As it says in the Eitz Chaim, that the soul itself, when the soul comes down into this world, it's not to correct and not to fix the soul, because the soul itself needs no correction. It only came down to sort out the animal soul. V'hinei, k'moi sheyesh gimel shutofim be'odom. Just as there is three partners. When we talk about human being, you have the Ave'im that create the physical. V'Hakadosh Baruch Hu noiseh b'neshama, and the child, Hashem gives the soul into the person. Mekain b'behema hagashmis. So likewise is in the physical animal. Over there, it still needs to be in this matter. So the hema gashmi yesh bo nefesh mibchinas hachayis shebemerkava. There's the animal, the physical animal, but the animal has a soul, or it has a nefesh. That nefesh comes from the chayis shebemerkava. From the chayis of the merkava comes the nefesh for the animal, the physical animal. Mibchinas hashmorim v'hapesoilos sha'adayin loy nivrar. It comes, that nefesh comes from the level of the sediments and the leftovers that has not yet been sorted out in the level of the chayis. So it goes a process. So by the malachim, the neshamas itself, that was nisbaret. But then they bring down into the world the level, the leftovers and the sediments that has not yet been sorted out. So beheim is barerim al yidei ha'odom sha'ichlom. And how are they sorted out? By the person that eats them. And with that power that he got by eating the animal, then he can say echod, and v'ahavta, one, the oneness of Hashem, and v'ahavta b'chol levavcha, to love with all your heart, which is translated as levavcha b'beis yetzarecha, with both two inclinations. And then to go on, ulihispalel b'mesidas nefesh, and to daven with self-sacrifice to Hashem. Al yidei zeh nivreru gam habehemes v'chol hadvorim hamutorim lo'ichlom. And through this is sorted out also these behemoths and all other items that are permissible to be eaten, through the Yid eating them and then elevating them through his davening and through his saying echod. So then he elevates them. Al yidei zeh. And once you sorted out the kelim, it's gal ha'orem is the toyu kanal v'inya b'chayis noises. So through this, there is a revelation of a shine from the lights of Toihu, as we said before in Vachayis Noises, that once you're mevarer, then you get the hamshocha from the Oires de Toihu. V'chein kisha oisin and the same thing is when you do with them a positive mitzvah with the gashmis, the matters. Moy shofar, sukkah, v'lulav, tzitzis, utfilin. These are all physical items that you use and you make a mitzvah with them. Mamshichim. His galus oiris the toyu, then you draw down to reveal the lights of toyu, shenistalku, that have been removed through the shvira. They were removed. Sheyis galu b'kelim the tikkun, so that they should be revealed in the vessels of tikkun. So this is not just in the gashmis, but in the person. Yumshel gilu zeh b'nefesh alikis. That revelation comes to the godly soul, moilemailo, v'achayis noisois as b'chinas adam shalom. The chayis, they carry the level of adam, noisa adam, So over here, they carry the gashmis, the things that you elevated, they carry you, they carry the odom. That's only, you can only make these items like the tefillin, you can only use kosher things that you can eat. You're allowed to do that. But the prohibited items, they cannot be elevated at all. So this elevation, and you get the iris, comes through only the kosher. That's the direct, that's the mitzvah saseh. That's the direct connection, as we're going to see, through the positive mitzvahs, as opposed to, as we're going to talk about the loisaseh later. Hine, tzorich lo. So we need to understand this. The Merkava HaKadoisha is Pnei Ariel HaYamin. In the holy Merkava, the face of the lion is to the right, meaning something which is to the right, it means that that level of the Chaya is on a higher level, it's on the right. Arehu Koidem B'Maila, so therefore he is ahead. He's first in his advantage. He's at a greater advantage. The Gavoya Mipnei Shir, and is higher than the Pnei Shir, which is on the left. Belochein, and for that reason, Gam came to Korbanis. Also, when we talk about the Korbanis, Hoya Aryeh the Achil Korbanin. It was the shape of a lion that would consume the Korbanis. The question is, so how come a shoyer is a kosher animal, the ox, which is from the left, a lower madrega, and the aryeh is not, who's to the right is not a kosher? Madua lamato hashoyer muter loikloi. Here below, the ox is permissible to be eaten. V'yuchalis alus al yidei ha'odam, and he is able to be elevated through the person sha'ichloi that eats him al gaba mizbeach, or offers him on the mizbeach. That way, the essence of the shoir is elevated and included in kedusha. As opposed to the lion, he is from the prohibited animals that are the automatic animals that are prohibited by eating. You can't use him for any item of kedusha. It was not proper prepared, doing for the heavenly work. We need to do mitzvahs. We can only use things that are permissible to our mouth. Why is that? So, the idea is it is known shahaklipa kodma lepri. You have the fruit and you have the peel. So we say the peel comes before the fruit. The way the fruit grows, first comes the outside, the shell, and then comes the fruit. The klipa comes first. Seems almost like the negative comes before the positive. So he explains, Veloy shahaklipa mamesh kodma lepri chas v'sholem. It doesn't mean, God forbid, that the negative, the klippa, the shell, which is the sitra achra, comes before the fruit. Hello. We're talking about the light and the energy that is in the klippa, that is dressed up in the klippa, golus, in a way of golus. The word is haloivish, not halovish, right? Haloivish b'toicha, correct?
Huh? Haloivish b'toicha.
Okay, good. Okay. No, fal shama mishiras hakelim, that fell there from the shiras hakelim. Hine hu mimadreges elyoine yoiser mapriatzma. So that is from a higher steps, higher levels than the fruit itself. Which goes with the Ramaskel, Vayishlach Pare, Vashehishalach Pare, Ukenal, Meinyan, Toyu Vitikun, as we said before by Toyu Vitikun, that Toyu is a higher level than Tikun, because the Shoirish, the root is higher. But the Afal Pikein, a Klippa Atzma, he's seeking the Klippa itself is thorns and shell. It is not positive. It is the outside, negative. But it has a shoirish, which is higher. The shoirish is toyu. That's why the Arya below is a unclean animal. And below the shoir, shehu legabe Arya k'mei klipa. The ox, relative to the lion, is a fruit next to the klippa. So the klippa, the Arya is the klippa, but it has a root higher. However, the root of the light and the energy and the spark, which is dressed in the Arya, he comes from a high level which is higher than the ox. Why? Because above, the lion is to the right. That means that it is higher madrega. Just as the creation of the lion below, which is lower than the Pnei Aryeh. No, just like the Savas Halmat is with Pnei Aryeh. So we're saying, where does the lion come from? The physical lion comes from the Pnei Aryeh, from the Merkava. Just like the creation of the Aramat Aryeh, Kachal Derech Zehu Inyan Avram Shiyatzu Menu Yishmael. So Avram is the great tzaddik, and Yishmael was evil, at least in the beginning. How does Yishmael come from Avram? Just like the holy Aryeh, the Pnei Aryeh Merkava, is the source for the Aryeh over here Lamata. Same thing is the idea of Avram Sheyotzo Mimenu Yishmael. Pirush. Sheyotzo Mimenu, what does it mean that it went out from him? It left him. Sheyotzo Mimenu, left him, means they are the imperfections, the spots that have separated from the silver. When you have silver that has imperfection and you put it in the fire, the sigim separate from the silver, so the silver becomes pure. So that separated sigim, those spots, those imperfections, that is Yishmael. The Oz Nasa Avram Merkava L'Chesed Atzilus. Then he became a chariot to the level of Chesed Atzilus. Just like silver, after it was purified from these imperfections, it becomes pure silver. Avram became perfect, a Merkava, after separating Yishmael Yotzim Men. Ube'ez shahoya koidem birur hakelim de toilu. But before, he was at the level that he had not yet sorted out the kelim de toilu. Hoya kolul Yishmael gamke b'mchinas Avraham. So then Yishmael at that point was also included in Abraham, because it was not yet separated. And therefore, V'nas Shviras HaKelim, and it became the Shviras HaKelim. So what happens before the sorting out? When the Kelim breaks, so Yishmael Kodem Yitzchak, then Yishmael comes before Yitzchak. Like the shell comes before the fruit, like we said before, the lion is on a lower level, but it comes from it's in a lower level than the ox. So in this case, when we have the Shviras HaKelim and Yishmael is there, he comes first. He is the klippa. That's why he was the b'choir. So as we said before, just like the Aryeh relative to the Shir, al derech mashal, because we see that the Aryeh is the stronger one, the bigger one, and the Shir is the smaller one. So it was before the Shviras HaKelim, it was Yishmael was the older one. Al derech mashal. Bechinas Yitzchak, ukemoi bechinas pnei Shir shebemerkava, hakadosh. Because Yitzchak is like the face of the ox in the holy chariot, and the Yishmael, ukemoi bechinas Aryeh, he is like the level of the lion. Aryeh shalamato. So he is the Shir shebemerkava hakadosh, and Yishmael is like the Aryeh below, which means the Aryeh below Sharishor Shegavoya Yesa. Dain Mebchinas Bnei Aryeh. He is the level of the Bnei Aryeh. So basically, when you talk about Yishmael, we're talking about his source. His source is the Bnei Aryeh. In the level of Tohu, he's talking bigger. But when we're talking about Yitzchak, we're talking about Yitzchak the way he's over here, and also the level of the Pnei Shor. But therefore, we're saying that here Yishmael is the B'choir, but he himself, in this world over here, he himself came out to become in a way of imperfection and klipa. B'zeh yuvon inyan shchoira ani v'nova ke'ole keder k'dilkamon, that he'll explain later on. So, when you take a look in the world, Yishmael comes before Yitzchak because in the Shoirish, in the Merkava, Aryeh is to the Yamin, and the Shoir, which is to the left. So Yishmael is greater, older than Yitzchak, who is to the left. But yet, the way it comes out into the world, Poel Mamesh, the ox remains a kosher animal and not the Aryeh. The Aryeh is not a kosher animal. That's the way Yishmael was the level of Klippa, even though he was the older one, because that was before the bitter. And this is the same idea. He's going to say, Ukemoi hashilya shemakefes levlad. That's like the shilya. That's the sack which surrounds the baby. So it turns out what becomes the protection of the baby, that's the shilya, that's the sack. That's like the klippa. How come the shilya can be a protection for the baby? Because in the root, when the sack was still included in the seed, in the drop, that is higher, like the Pnei Aryeh. But va'achar kach al yidei habirur. But then, once you sort it out, the baby developed the fredes v'zeikinois. Then you separate it and you throw it away. So originally Yishmael is higher, but once we're mevarer, then Yitzchak becomes higher, and Yishmael is thrown away. Why is that? Well, Inyan explains who. Because that which has a higher root, a greater root, when it falls in the level of Shviras HaKelim, is Neufel Lamata Yeser, then falls even lower. Also, in the idea of the Shviras HaKelim of Toyu, there is many levels. The fact that something falls lower, that means because its root was higher. It was higher, oiris, and and that's why the kelim did not hold them. And they fell by force. Basically, it's like almost like a heavier keli, which had a bigger oil. And when it crashed, it comes down with more force. It goes down even lower. The yesh, mebchinas hakelim shenishbru v'noflu, and there is from the level of kelim that broke and they fell. Shenishtalshlu b'chinas b'hemes v'chayis hamatorim b'achila. And there's those that fell and they evolved into animals and chayis that you're allowed to eat. And that which is higher, and that which is higher in the root fell even lower with things that is also to eat. So that is the reason that when you see like the aryeh that you can't eat, it is because it actually has a higher source and it fell therefore further down that he can't even eat it. So the mitzvahs say can't deal with that. You can't be mevared, you can't elevate it. But how do we observe the prohibition? We fulfill it with things that you're not allowed to. They have a higher source than the things that are permissible. As for example, the aryeh has a higher source than the ox. It's yamin, the shade is small, and yet the aryeh can't be eaten. When we fulfill his blessed will in the level of Hainu, as the Chiyah Shedoichin Oisom Apnimis Umakifim the Klipo, that you push it away. You push away the inner and the makifim of klipa, meaning you don't eat them and you don't touch them. The taris, as he talked about before, you take them away. You don't internalize, don't eat them. Pnimim, you don't eat them. Hainu, aidei meniyas hachila loy soichal, through holding back, not eating. Oishen nizorim el tamem, or you're careful not to be metamem. The chol hagedorim v'hasyogim shabahem. And all the limitations, defenses, and the precautions that we do not to violate the loisese, al yidei zeh Ruach hatuma yapim min ha'oretz. That's the way to remove the spirit of impurity from the land. Lo yiyashum hester b'klippa. There will be no blockage. There will be no klippa. Umizgal al yidei zeh. And then through this is revealed atzmius ha'oretz al yonim, the essence of the supreme lights. Gavoyim yoiser ma'oretz hamizgalim ayidei mitzvahs eseh shebidvorim hamotorim. They are greater than the lights that are revealed through the mitzvahs eseh and the permissible things. Ukemoi shalamaylo, just like above. Gilui b'chinas pnei aryeh ugavoyim b'chinas pnei shor chulu. The revelation of the level of pnei aryeh is greater than the level of pnei shor. Ayim ashekosu b'parshas ekev al posuk v'yachilcha samon hulu. Looking over there. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yashkoach.
So we'll stop
Have
over
a good
here.
day. Yep.
And we'll continue Be'ez Hashem tomorrow. Good day.
Yashkoach. See you next time. Bye-bye.